Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and today we will make together a deep dive into working with Creatio's built-in IDE and configuration tools. I'm with Creatio for more than 5 years and have experience in both product design and enterprise projects implementations. Today we will dive into working with Creatio's built-in IDE, and we'll mostly focus on configuration section functionality and 7.17 release features, because the release brings in a major improvement to built-in developer tools, namely the brand new interface of the configuration section. Today we'll conduct an overview of the configuration section functionality and talk about its basic principles, have a live demo of the new interfaces, and implement a business case using the new tools, as well as have the insight to our related roadmap. So let's proceed to our section overview. Creatio provides a variety of tools to cover the customization needs for any system role. Low-code tools like user interfaces designer or business process designer mostly target business analysts and citizen developers. Professional developers can as well use file system design mode and tools like Microsoft Visual Studio to perform more complex customizations. But as well, complex customization tasks can also be implemented with built-in Creatio developer tools. And this requires no installation of any additional software. The tools available inside the configuration section will allow you to manage packages and their contents, expand and modify Creatio functions, benefit from using subversion control system, or transfer changes between environments. In case we will have a look into the configuration structure, it can be split into the following logical blocks. So first of all, the configuration elements. These are the configurable Creatio components. Namely, these are the building blocks of the functionality you develop. Packages that are namely the containers that allow you to group configuration elements that implement a specific set of functions. The delivery tools that will allow you to export or import the functionality, transfer it to or from environments. And the version control system that will allow you to organize the development process within a team in case you have several developers working on the project. And as well, using the version control system will allow you to track the changes and manage transferring changes to other development environments. All of the above mentioned points are complemented inside the configuration section with various actions that can influence the whole configuration, or they can be specific for a particular configuration element type. Now let's dig a bit deeper and have a look at the configuration elements. They can also be split into several groups. First of all, these are the SQL scripts that allow you to create and include into a package a script that will be installed with the package. We can as well name data, because when delivering packages to customers, it is sometimes necessary to install some additional data, let's say some lookup values or system setting value for correct operation of all functions. Binding data to a package enables you to achieve this purpose. Schemas are the configuration elements like business processes, objects, modules, and the rest of the schemas that are available inside our configuration that implement new or change existing functionality in the system. You can as well use external assemblies. They can be added to a package, but there is a certain limitation when working with external assemblies that they cannot be modified using any built-in development tools. Each configuration element, except for external assemblies, has a built-in tool designed specifically for development of this particular element type. We usually call them designers. All the customization done using either configuration tool or either configuration tools or any other local tools, such as user interfaces designers, will be displayed and can be edited via the configuration section. We have already mentioned packages as part of the configuration section, and Creatio application development follows the basic principle of software design. Don't repeat yourself with DIY. In other words, we can name it that everything you develop inside our platform should be developed only once. This principle in Creatio is implemented by using packages and package dependencies. Every package can include all types of the configuration elements like schemas, data, SQL scripts, or external assemblies that are required to implement a specific set of functionality. If a package requires the functions that are a part and are already implemented in a different package, you will need to additional setup dependencies between the packages in order to use the existing functionality. Information about the dependencies will be added and stored inside the package metadata. You can imagine any Creatio product as a specific set of packages that are used to modify the configuration. Package dependencies form a hierarchical chain. This means that if you add a package to the dependency of another package, the dependent package will contain all the functionality of the added package and as well as functionality of all packages that the added package depends on. In our case, if to have a look at the diagram and to make it simple, the package D will inherit only the functionality of the package B. And if we are talking about the package C, it will inherit all the functionality of package A and package D, as well as the package B via the package D. So when you set up a system, the list of packages will differ from product to product, though all products include core functionality, or in other words, so we can name them primary packages. So these packages are the packages like base or platform. You can find them in any product you install. For example, the base package will contain base schemas or the primary objects, some base sections and object schemas. And let's say the platform package will contain modules and pages of the section wizard, content designer, and the rest of designers. As well, there are some specific product packages. For example, for Product Studio, there is a package Studio that just incorporates items to implement Studio Creatio product functionality. It is not possible to make any changes in pre-installed packages as they and the related configuration elements are locked for editing. So in case you need to make your own development, you must create custom packages and implement your changes in them. When speaking about custom packages, there is an important note that you should consider. You shouldn't mix up custom packages, or in other words, we may name them user-created packages with the pre-installed package called custom, because whenever you set up a system, you will always have the pre-installed custom package there. So this package contains a number of different limitations related to subversion integration, some export and import features. So in case your development doesn't meet at least one of the following criteria, do not use development in custom package. Among these criteria, we may name that the changes will not be transferred to any other environment. The changes that are made using wizards or manually, but the amount of these changes is not large, and that there is no need to use the version control system. Right now on the screen, you can see an example of a regular package hierarchy that includes pre-installed packages that implement basic product functionality, custom or user-created packages that implement specific customer logics, and the pre-installed custom package. The custom package must always be the last in the package hierarchy and depend on all other packages. User-created packages should be dependent on pre-installed packages and have a custom package as dependent package. For sure, your hierarchy inside your product and when you will be doing your development can have much more levels, and it will have much more levels. But the general principle should remain the same. Custom is always the last in the hierarchy, and the pre-installed packages are always at the top of the hierarchy. Now, when we discussed already the general overview of what Creatio configuration is and some basic principles, we can now move on to, I guess, the most interesting part of our today's meeting. It is what changes we are going to see in the 7.17 release. Within several latest releases, we already introduced a number of new interfaces that used to be a part of the configuration section. As an example, we may take a look at the object rights management section or changelog section. Right at the moment, you can see the examples of these interfaces on your screen. The interfaces became much more modern and the performance gradually increased. Well, we as well included a number of ideas that we identified via voice from our customers and partners when doing this development. So just in case you have any ideas or improvement that you think would be great to be implemented in the product, please feel free to share these ideas with us. We have a lot of channels like our today's chat or Creatio community where you can share these ideas, and we would really appreciate that. All these new interfaces were built using the Angular framework, and we received really good feedback on working with the functionality. So we continued to develop this success and implement the idea to provide, let's say, modern, clean, and quick interfaces, not only to end users, but to system administrators and developers. The major change you're going to experience when you update your application to 7.17 version is the completely new user interface of the configuration section. I guess the majority of you are quite familiar with the way existing configuration section looks like. For quite a long period of time, the interface of the section was different from the rest of the system and provided quite a different user experience that was a bit confusing, especially when speaking about new Creatio developers. Now the interface will be in line with general system design, and it will make it much more user-friendly and easy to adopt to. Moreover, it's not only the configuration section itself that received the new interface, but as well all the old configuration section designers like SQL scripts designer, data binding tool, source code, user task designers. So within the new configuration section, all the designers that are related to development of particular configuration elements also received new interfaces. We also implemented a number of improvements like unifying the list of configuration elements. And now there is no need to jump between different tabs to find an SQL script or data binding. Everything is now available within one unified list. The element status that requires user attention is now displayed in the list as well, so that there is no necessity to set up additional columns in the list to see whether any attention should be paid to the particular element, for example, if some error happened. The new interface is also available for .NET Core, and this is one of the key features. Now you have the possibility to use all of the configuration development tools as well for .NET Core product installations, because prior to this release, only runtime of the applications worked for .NET Core. The interfaces are way quicker and received a number of additional improvements for search, filtering, and package management, and we will have a look into these improvements when working on the case. So now it is time to have a look at the new section. We will implement a little business case and at the same time have a look at what was changed in the interfaces in the 7.17 release. So this is our business case. As a developer, part of development team, we need to create a detail that will allow us to track risk level changes for customers. The risk level will be assigned automatically depending on the customer residency. All the risk level changes must be stored inside the customer profile for compliance purposes. So this is quite a common case for a lot of financial organizations. Now I will open our system. So in general, you may enter the configuration section from the system designer. We have the advanced settings point over here. So when we press the button, we see that a new interface is displayed to us. We may as well enter this interface by using short LSs. This is the way I usually do it when doing some development in Creatio. We may use the short ls dev or the short lsv. So in case we use it, we see that we are still just in the same interface. From the first glance at this section, we might say that it is really pretty familiar to us because of the structure and the design of the section, it pretty much resembles what we have in the other parts of the system. In the header of the section, we have some general items like the close button that will close this interface, the compile button with a possibility to call a drop-down menu. In case we press it, we will see that there is an item here that will allow us to compile the entire configuration section. And by default, as the compile feature is hidden, when pressing the compile button, it will cause compilation of only the modified items. Apart from that, we have as well the actions button here. We have a number of actions here grouped by the action, the functionality it relates to. So here we have a group related to file system development mode. We see that they are deactivated, so they are not active. I cannot press them, but we can receive a hint how to activate these actions. We have as well actions related to SVN repositories, items actualization, and source code generation. So for our case, as we are part of our development team, let's have a look at the repositories. So we are using repositories in our development. We may select the action open list of repositories, and we will see that we already have one record over here. This is I named it Accelerate Global. This is just the name of the repository. The SVN storage address. So this is my test SVN storage, and whether this repository is active or not. Apart from that, we can delete the repository from here or edit details. Let's say in case our credentials changed, I can input my credentials over here and log into this storage. We might add several storages. In order to achieve this, we may just press the add button and add additional storage. But this is not really what we need for the moment. Inside the left part of the section, we have the panel where all package management happens. What was changed here is that now we have the search field here that will allow us to search for the items, for the packages we need. One more interesting thing over here is the sorting order that was as well changed within this release. Because now at the top, you will always receive the most relevant packages for you. Let's say these are the packages that were changed and the packages that can be edited. You can quite, in a simple manner, understand which packages are manageable, can be edited or can't be edited by just the color of the package, because the pre-installed packages are marked with gray color. So you will not be able to perform any changes here. The editable packages are marked with an orange icon, and we see as well some editable package here. Its name is demo. I downloaded it and installed from my repository prior to the meeting just to save some time for our development. And we can see additional icon over here that tells us that this package is connected to a package in SVN. So we can see the SVN repository name and the revision number. Additionally, we can call a menu to perform additional actions for the package. We can delete the package, export export it, update or commit to repository, or see additional properties. So in case we select the item properties, we will get into a new page where we can see additional details about our package. So let's say the repository address, the maintainer. So this is customer created package. I created it myself. This is not a pre-installed package. And as well information and about the dependencies of the package. So the package that our package depends on. In our case, this is the package Studio because we're working in the Studio product, and the dependent packages, in our case, is only custom for the moment. We can additionally add new dependencies by just pressing the add button. Okay, for our development, I already mentioned that I installed the package, and it contains several items already here. So let's have a look at the right part of the page and see what we have here. Well, in general, this is the unified list of all objects. So let's switch to all packages and see all the items in our configuration. We see that there are no tabs for data and SQL schemas that used to be separate tabs. Now we just work with one unified list, but in order, in case we need to select some schemas of a particular type, we may use the additional filters that were added to the section. So let's say we may have a look at only source codes, or only objects that are available in the system, or only objects that are a part of a specific package. Apart from that, we may implement additional filters. We have here the filters either display all items or show only locked items, or the items that need actualization, or where we had some error. We will also use this filter within our case, so that we'll see what is the use case for these filters. Apart from that, we have the search field. An interesting thing about this field is that you can configure the behavior of the field, because you can either switch on or off search, for example, by column title or by column UID, and select the mode, the search mode, whether it is the starts with, or the contains, or equals. Okay, so now let's have a look at what items I already have inside my package. These are several objects that I used to implement a new lookup for storing the risk levels of the customer, and a data binding with risk level values. Inside the list, we can see information about the name and the title, the status. In case we will have an error, we will have an indication inside this field, the type of the item, and as well some general information regarding the package, object, and the modification. So in case we, let's have a look at what development was already done. Let's open the object risk level history. I implemented this object in order to store information for risk level changes. We will base our detail on top of this object. We'll just use information that will be saved to this object. So this is the interface of the new object designer. A little note from my side is that all the designers, except for data binding tool, they have just the same structure. In the header of the section, we will see some buttons that call the actions for this particular element type. For example, for object, it is opening the empty process, it is publication, or just closing this interface. In the left part, we have the navigation panel, where the structure of this particular item is displayed. Depending on the type of the item, the blocks available inside this navigation panel will differ, because in case we are right now inside the objects designer, we can see here the inherited columns, the events, the source code. But in case we are working, let's say, with a module, we will see there are, let's say, localizable strings instead of columns. We can see the general information about the object. We see that the object name and the object title. We can see the parent object, and as well we can see the list of columns that were inherited and the list of columns that we added. So we added a column to contact, a lookup to contact, and a lookup to risk level. A lookup column to risk level in order to implement, to connect a risk level to a particular customer. Okay. And as well, we might right now have a look at the risk level values. So I created a lookup with risk levels and created some values in order to, created a data binding in order to use for these elements to become available when transferring the package to another environments or committing the package to SVN. Inside this interface, we may see the general information about the data binding, the installation type, the name, some notes regarding the installation type. So you can read the information, why for we need different installation types, and two separate tabs, one for column settings. Basically, this is a list of columns that will be added to the data binding. In our case, we see that this is the ID and the name. And beside that, we may modify here whether the field should be used for forced update when installing this data binding, or whether the use should be used as key for finding already existing records when the data will be installed. The second tab, bound data, contains a list of values that are available, that were added to this particular data binding. So we see that for risk levels, we added 4 different risk levels: low, medium, high, and not set. And apart from that, we can see the IDs. The major change that happened to data binding tool is that we no longer have a filter here. So earlier, when you had to create a data binding, you had to set up a filter in order to select some IDs, add them to filtration in order for the values to be added to your data binding. Now it happens just by selecting from lookup. Let's say delete one value from here and press add, and we see that we have one value that was not added to the package, and we may add. So all the changes we do inside our new designers can be cancelled. In order to cancel them, we will just press the cancel button, and all the customization we made without saving will not be applied. Okay. I will do my development in a separate package. Definitely, I could add my development to already existing demo package, but let's have a look how the new packages are created right now on the system. So in order to achieve these, we may press the icon for adding a new package. We will need to specify the name of the package. It will be accelerate global. We can specify description, but it's really not required, and specify the version control system repository. I have just one SVN added to my system. It is the accelerate global, and specify the version. And we may save it. So as soon as the new package is saved, we see that it was added to the list at the very top, and we see that it has as well this blue icon over here. This means that the package contains some modifications, and as well we can see the icon that this package is connected to SVN repository. We will as well add the required dependencies. So in our case, we will add a dependency to our demo package because it already has dependencies to Studio package. So we will inherit all the functionality of the Studio package as well. Now we can apply the changes. Right at the moment, the required dependencies are added. So we see that it was pretty quick. And now we can create all the required functionality in our separate package. But first of all, we should go a step back and change the system settings values. There are two system settings we are interested in. The first one is the prefix name, is the prefix for object name. Basically, the default one is user, but for today's session, I will be using ACC for accelerate, and the current package system value, because inside for our development, we will be using the some low-code tools, some wizards, and in order for the functionality by default to be created in the package, we will select our accelerate global package, set it as the current package in our system. So now when we finished this part, we can create and do our customization. As we remember, the risk level of our customer should be defined by the country of residence. So in order to achieve this, I added the field risk level to our countries lookup. And now we can add the lookup, we can populate the lookup with the required values. Let's say we have a list of countries, Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria, and we can specify a particular risk level that will define the risk level of our customer. So we can specify for Afghanistan, let's say high, for Albania low, and for Algeria we'll specify medium level. So what we can do next is inside our accelerate global package, we can add a new data binding. To add a new configuration item, we just need to press the add button and select the relevant item type. In our case, it will be data. So to add the data binding, we will need to select an object, country, specify the name. We'll say that risk level values, and perform the required customization of the data binding. We will add additional column to our data binding. This is the risk level. To do this, I just press the add button and select the required field from the list of all available fields inside this object. And as well, we see that no data is already added to this data binding. So we may just press the add button and select the corresponding values from the selection window. Over here, we can select, let's say, all values or select just separate values, or using the shift button, we can select multiple values. But for the moment, we'll add just 3 values for which we set the risk level and press the select button. After this, we may save the changes. Right at the moment, system tells us that the values for these countries are already bound in another package, and no wonder, because we already have them inside the system. But this is not a problem because we added additional field and values for this additional field. An interesting part over here about the data binding tool is this actualize data button. This is something new for this interface. So the use case for using this button is, let's say we created a data binding. After that, we saw that we made some mistake, and let's say, or some changes happen, and let's say Albania is no longer low due to risk level, but it should be as well medium. We will save these changes and enter our data. So we see that still inside the list, the information for Albania is, the risk level for Albania is low, but in case we press the actualize data, the risk level is changed, and and it reflects the status of the data that currently exists inside our database. And we may save or cancel the changes. Right now I'll cancel and close this interface. Now the next step will be adding the detail itself. So in order to achieve this, I will enter the detail wizard because it is much quicker. I will generate the detail and we will enter the configuration section and see what was generated by the system. We will name it risk level history, and we will use this detail inside the contact page to reflect the changes and to reflect the history of the changes. And for object, we will use the risk level history object that was already created by me, and we may save the changes. We do not need to set up any page because we remember that no manual input should be done to this detail, so we will not require a page. Moreover, we will remove some functions from our detail in order to not to provide users with the possibility to add additional records to it or modify the records. So we may close it. Now, when we enter the advanced settings, we see that inside our package, additional schemas were automatically generated by the system. These are some data bindings that register the detail in our system, and as well the client modules for our newly created detail. We will as well modify the detail, and to modify the detail, we can just click on the name, and the system will open us the interface for modules modification. So we can see here that the structure is just the same as it was inside the objects designer. So we can see the name of the schema, the structure of the schema, so we can see the localizable strings here, the images. And one more cool feature I forgot to mention to you is that we as well added here the search functionality. So when you are working with some schema, you can perform search pretty quickly. Let's say we may enter the add word over here, and we see that system provides us all the possible coincidences across the whole structure of this element. So we see that we have coincidence in localizable strings, we have coincidence in images. We may select what we are really looking for. Let's say this is the add button caption, and we can quickly proceed to editing this particular element. So in the right part of our screen, we may see in the right part of the screen, we may see a big area where we can modify the code. We have all the required highlights over here, and additional, you can collapse the code over here and expand it. We have all the required highlights, and as well, the system provides hints in case we do some errors. Let's say, let's make an error. We can see that system tells us that something is wrong with our code. I will modify our code a bit right now in order to implement the changes so that some predefined features that are available on every detail are switched off. In order to do this, I implemented some methods that will remove the copy, edit, delete, and add record button from the detail. Now, when we are done with this, we can just press the save button. And now the system is applying all our modifications. Now what we can do next is by using the section wizard, we can add our detail with all the modifications to the section page. As we remember that we need to display all the changes to the risk level of the customer inside his profile. So we will add a detail using the section wizard. In order to do this, I will press a new detail button, select our newly created risk level history detail. We'll leave the same caption on the page. Specify the detail column. It will be contact and object column ID to establish the connection and for the detail. So we may press save and save the changes. So right now the system is doing the required changes. It's saving client schemas. In the configuration section, we might also have a look. The system will automatically create the new items because we modified this section. So let's enter dev. And we might see that additionally in our system, the contact page and the contact section were modified and they were added to our package. So not really much development from our side, but pretty a lot of changes already in our package. So what we can do next is just reload the page. Because we see that we do not have a detail on our page, we will just reload the page. And see our detail right on the very place we edited. So we can see the risk level history detail over here. And if to compare it with the rest of the details available on the page, we might see the difference that we do not have the add button here. The rest of the details have the copy, edit, delete items in the menu, and our detail doesn't have these items. One more part we should also do in our development is make automatic pre-population for this detail. We will implement it with adding a script, an SQL script. So we will just set a default risk level for all the customers inside our system. So when our package will be first time installed on the environment, we will add the default risk level for all the existing customers inside the system. So we should specify the name. The name will be set default risk level. We can also select the DBMS type here. In my case, this is MS SQL, and the installation type after package. It works fine for me. So we see that the structure is as well the same as in the rest of the designers. We will input here a script as well with all the required highlights and save the changes. We can additionally perform the script validation from here. So in case we do something wrong, we can press the validation button and the system will tell us that we have an error over here. So we may close right now the interface. And one more thing I already mentioned today is about using these filters like needs actualization. So we see that now inside our package, we have one element with this that is being filtered using this filter. This is our script that we just created. We see an icon in the status field, and we can also get a hint what action is required for this particular element. So in our case, this is that it needs to be installed in the database because we just created it on this environment, but we didn't really install it. This is no problem when you will be transferring changes to other environments because it will be installed when the package will be installed. But in order to verify how the script, if it works fine, we can just from the menu press the install function, press yes, and see that it no longer requires any installation. And some changes were applied as well in our system. So in case we enter our test user, we will see that the default risk level was added to his profile. And this is what will happen for all the customers during the package installation on other environment. So what we can do next is we can commit this package to repository. We can commit all the changes we made. In order to do this, we will just use the action commit to repository. The system will provide us with the list of all the changes we applied. So all the schemas, all the data that was modified within our development, and we can specify description over here. Description for package, and commit the changes to a repository. Another way to transfer the changes using the built-in tools is to use the export feature. So we see that our package that we committed to the repository is no longer at the very top of the list because it is no longer considered to be changed as we committed all the changes. We additionally can export the package. It will be downloaded as a zip file, and you can install this zip file by using the install applications section inside the system designer. So let's switch back to our presentation because this is all for our today's development. I hope you like the demo and the new section, and it would be great to receive your comments and your feedback in chat. But this is not like the whole story for today. I would also like to share with you the features that will be included in the upcoming releases. So as a part of our current roadmap, we plan to provide users with the possibility to set the default package without leaving the configuration section, or let's say assign the newly created package as default. So this is the operation I had to do when I needed to specify the current package system value for my newly created package. For the moment, this is something that requires additional efforts when doing development. We as well plan to provide the ability to export multiple packages and elements from the configuration, to perform actions for multiple elements when selecting several items in the list, because for the moment, actions can be performed for just one particular element from the menu. We also plan to add additional filtering options to provide like even more sophisticated search experience, to import packages from configuration interface without leaving the configuration section, and a lot of other various user interface improvements to make the configuration section even better in future. So these are the changes we are already working on, and you can expect to see them in the upcoming releases. And now, as we have some time left till the end of the session, let's have a look whether you have any questions and try to answer at least some of them. So, questions. Okay, so we've got an interesting question. Is it possible to use GitHub with configuration section? The answer is that for the moment, no. It's not available. It is now available only when you are using file system development mode. But we have added a possibility to work with GitHub by using the built-in tools in our backlog. So this is definitely the task we'll be working on. Okay. And another one. If I want to create a package for Marketplace, what kind of dependencies do I need to add for my package? The strategy for Marketplace development is a bit different. I guess we'll also have a session on that within our today's sessions. So the strategy here is a bit different, because when you're working with a particular project implementation, right, doing a development for a particular customer, you don't really need to minimize the number of dependencies, so that you can inherit, let's say, as I did today, the studio package, in order to receive, namely, all the functionality, inherit all the functionality that was available in the system. When you are developing a solution for Marketplace, the situation is just on the contrary. You should minimize the number of dependency, in case you definitely want to make your package product independent. So you will need to investigate the exact functionality you need inside your package, inherit only the right packages, and try to minimize the number of these dependencies. Okay. Okay, the next question is, should we expect any changes to CI/CD process? Yes, we have a very deep plan for development of our, in general, application lifecycle management functionality, and it would cover not only the CI/CD process, but as well the entire application lifecycle. Starting, let's say, with requirements gathering, delivery management, creating automated pipelines, performance monitoring, just everything. And we plan to make all these tools as built-in tools so that will be easy to use by citizen developers. Okay, so we are already running out of time, so I guess we might finish. I would also like to mention that all the questions that you asked in the chat, we will try to answer them by email. So write all your questions. We will definitely have a look and answer you. Thank you. It was really nice to see you with us today. Bye.